at some point, some type of an outside influence made its way into the world that there's really no conventional explanation for it. Everybody was melanated at one point. Everybody on the planet. Everybody was brown skinned to a degree. You know, some might have been a little lighter, but there were no, how do you say, Germanic looking people on this planet at one point. And there is no real evidence from archaeology and anthropology where these particular people came from. There is none. There is none. Now, these are going to be the same people who in latter times are responsible for, one, taking down the feminine principle from the concept of divinity and godhood. That's one thing. Two, asserting the lack of melanin to the top of our world and taking the darker complected melanated person and placing them at the bottom. These people usurped the history of all these various melanated nations, and they changed it and turned us into villains in our own stories and said the stories were about them. These are the same people that made up the Roman society, the Roman, if you want to say, the aristocrats, the royalty, the high society of the Romans. Because even in Rome, Italy, it was black people at one point. But that's where they settled one place, and the other place was in Russia, and the other places is around Germany. But they try to pin it through religion that the world has only existed around 7,000 years, right? And I hear people say that all the time. Like, how does the Bible say the world's only like 6,500 years old, 7,000 years old? That's crazy. That's because this particular group of humanoid beings, that's as long as they've been here. The earth is millions of years old, obviously, like scientists will tell you. But the thing about it that scientists won't tell you is that humans have inhabited the planet and had intelligence and technology to a degree, and civilization as far back as we can find a human. You know, we can't just find a human buried in the ground and they're just, you know, ass naked with nothing, you know, a stick. They have tools, they have clothes, they have pottery, they have jewelry. So they were civilized as long as humans were here. That whole caveman shit and evolution from monkeys is not true, in my opinion, based on things I've studied. But this entity that wants to convince us that the human being in its capacity has only been around for 6,000 years, that's because that's as long as they ass has been around. No real history of their own, y'all. None. Alright, I want to talk about aliens or extraterrestrials, right? So, an alien or extraterrestrial would just be any being that does not come from Earth, right? And they don't have the physicality to sustain life and survive here and live and thrive within a natural habitat that the Earth itself would provide. I would consider that an alien, right? For one, I don't think aliens look like what we're taught in movies, like little short midgets with big ass heads or weird, tall, disfigured, crazy looking things. I think if aliens exist and they're able to come to our planet and just walk around, they probably look like humans. They probably are a form of humans. They're probably a humanoid type being. And they just have a certain type of makeup that would make them look vastly different to the native inhabitants of this planet, right? I see a lot of people that want to call the Kemetic gods, they want to call them aliens. A lot of people want to call the Babylonian deities, they want to call them aliens and stuff like that, bro. I don't think that's the case, man. That's been put out into mainstream pop culture and media by non-melanated people that got, you know, special interests to hide certain information and keep up a certain image in the eyes of the world. But in all reality, those were black people. I mean, what Zachariah Sitchin now calls the Anunnaki, those weren't aliens. Those were black people, and they were telling a story of the cosmos, the celestial bodies, and how the universe formed and stuff. And then it broke down to start talking about some of the earlier royal families of black people in that region of the world. You know, they got other propaganda machines like the show Ancient Aliens, and it's interesting. So a lot of us will really go for this shit, like, oh yeah, we're aliens. Yeah, black people are aliens. Black people, we're not aliens. We come right here. We come from right here where the sun shines bright and charges our melanin. And when we connect to the earth, we feel stronger. This is home. This is where we come from. We do not burn up, get melanoma, get heat rashes and all that shit just from going outside in the sun. This is home. This is home. Earth, this is our shit. This is home. Y'all need to know that. And all this stuff that's trying to take black people and put them originating away from here are all lies. That's propaganda. This is our home, and we have an invasive species that is here sharing the planet with us. And I'm gonna have to go a little bit more in detail into that at some point. I might make a whole YouTube video about this, but man, the thing about it is, our minds have been so shaped by media that we only can see something playing out one type of way. But the thing about an alien invasion is that in reality, it doesn't play out how it plays out in the movie. In reality, you know, it doesn't play out as some giant ship coming down there like, take me to your leader. You know, no. They come down and they hide the ships deep underground. They don't want nobody to know that they are aliens. They try to blend in as best as they can among the people. They try to downgrade their technologies a little bit so that it looks like something that the natives might have came up with, and then they insert themselves into society, and then they insert themselves into the history of that people until slowly, from all that inserting, they can start claiming things as theirs and completely usurp that history and that world itself. I mean, if you would look at our world and who the dominant society is, and look at what we've strived to achieve on this planet since what I feel is the arrival of beings, other humanoids that are not from Earth. I think they're from Mars, honestly. Y'all know how Mars is all red, dead planet, and they trying to go back there and all that shit. I think they came from Mars. I honestly think that who they call like ET people, like the UFO conference people, they call them the tall whites or the Nordics, or even now some of them are saying that they're Pleiadians and putting them from another star system, but they still are super tall, bleach blonde, Swedish looking people. I think they came from Mars. I think they came to Earth, and I think they tried to bring all that technology here and impose it on a natural people at one point. I think the exact same thing that they're doing on this planet, they already did that on Mars, and they completely destroyed the planet. They wiped out the atmosphere, everything. Like all this shit with the chemtrails and them spraying the sky and everything. I'm sure they went through the same stuff, because when they started polluting the environment, deteriorating the atmosphere, doing all this stuff, they started to get more space debris, more radiation and stuff, destroying their planet and everything. So then they had to jump, skip, hop over to Earth in order to try to survive. And now they're trying to employ their same way of life here on us. Now, we're used to such luxuries and things, but honestly, black people, we don't need air conditioning. We don't need TV. We don't need cars. We don't need, like, we don't need none of that shit. Like, we was getting along just fine without any of that. We'll be alright. We'd be stronger for it, honestly. Do you see where architecture is going? The modern look, right? It's less soul in it. It's less artistic. It's less feminine. It's more just straight lines. Like, if you look at all the buildings that they're remodeling and upgrading, they're extremely minimalist. Okay, this is from their culture. All right, if you look at all the buildings in Europe and stuff, they did not build those. Architects from different parts of the world that were melanated people came up with those concepts and built a lot of that stuff. Or European architects were inspired heavily by architecture that came from different parts of the world that already had existed for hundreds and thousands of years, and they took little bits from this, little bits from that, remixed it, and they created a culture. They created a nationality that was supposedly native to Earth, but it's not. I mean, if you look into the history, man, like look at how a lot of these people have no regard for this planet, man. Like, if you see poachers in Africa, black guys, they're doing that shit. I'm not excusing it, but they're doing that shit to make money because their families are fucking hungry and they don't really have any other way to make a living. And they know that if they go out and do poaching, and we blame them for that shit, but if they go and do the poaching, then European people are going to pay them for these exotic animals and these exotic animal parts a high amount of money, because a lot of them have some kind of like superstitious medical benefits or some type of rarity that makes it a commodity that they want to pay so much for. But you get Europeans and Caucasian folks that just go down to these beautiful spots in the world and murder animals. They don't eat them or nothing. They just take pictures with the gun and on top of a dead body of a majestic lion, bro. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, who just kills an animal for fun? A fucking psychopath. How is sport hunting not looked at as psychotic? But if a little kid has like a pet hamster and he's like torturing it and killing it, that's not psychotic. That's psychotic. Like, killing an animal for fun is killing an animal for fun. It's the same shit. I don't care. Like, that's psychotic. Like, who came up with the notion of a horror movie, a form of entertainment with people being murdered, slashed up, hacked up, violated, raped, mutilated, as a source of fun and entertainment? Who came up with that concept? Not us, family. That shit does not come from us. That shit came from somebody else who have a whole different type of way of thinking, and they think something like that is entertaining. And they push that onto us. Who came up with the concept of like pornography? Do you think black people did? How we come up with pornography when you go down to any place that's still practicing tribalism in a remote area and they walking out with their titties out, the dudes dicks just swinging in the wind like doo, 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 doo. They don't care about nothing like porn. Like, why would they see naked people every single day, all damn day? It ain't nothing special to them at all. Like, nothing. Like, so this is some other shit that's not part of us, you know? And we need to start recognizing these little influences in our society and things that have shaped who we are today that does not come from us. There is not natural behaviors. These things are not natural to the melanated being and to the native of this planet in this world. We have been influenced by something that is not from here. All right. And their offspring, their remnant, are the lesser melanated people on this planet. Sorry. Like, and this is not even just to like attack, you know, white people, but we got to address the facts, bro. We really got to address the facts. Like, y'all, we joke about certain shit, but like, I'm telling y'all, man, unfortunately, a lot of white people don't have a very high creative capacity. They're mechanical, so they can do it, but they have to train. Like, they have to do lines of repetition over and over. It's not organic. It doesn't just flow out of them and just naturally occur. Like, they can make music, But then they had to learn to write music on lines and sheets of paper, and they can make art, but then the art had to be like photorealistic, just like a computer. You know, they can make buildings, but the buildings are just fucking boxes and cubes with no type of curve or dimensionality to it. Like, do you see what I'm saying? We laugh and say like, oh, white people ain't got no rhythm, they can dance. I mean, they can't dance. But I mean, it's true. They can learn how to dance by, you know, all right, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 choreography, making it a mechanical process, because that's the way that their mind works. That's the way that the society they came from was a completely technological society of machines and gadgetry, opposed to here, our native way was more dealing with organic and natural and from the earth and just from the spirit, off the top, just flowing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to just sit there and 1 and 2 and 3 and we need a dance tutorial to learn how to whip. And you know what I'm saying? Like, no, it just comes from the heart. All niggas can just do that shit, because it's just like, it's part of us. So, in case you ain't never heard nobody put this out there, yeah, man, I think white people have ancestors that come from, like, Mars or, like, some other, maybe Titan or something. But I think Mars, I think that's why they're trying to get back to Mars, because that's where they came from. And there's something there that they think they might can use to benefit them somehow. So they're trying to get back to Mars, because why else would they go there? There's nothing there. I mean, even if there is life, it's some little bullshit microbial life that's not going to help us anyhow as human beings. So why the fuck are they trying to go back to Mars? Because that's mama. That is home. That place has less gravity. It's further away from the sun. So that means that they would have had less dense bones and they would have been whiter than us. Nigga, they come from Mars. Y'all think it's a joke, but it's true. I mean, like, I've put a lot of time in this and I just never really talk about it very often because I know that shit sounds crazy. But think about it. Think about it. Why do you think Mars is the god of war? You know, they always say men come from Mars, women come from Venus. Like, bro, Mars is a war planet, an energy planet of weaponry. The Bible talks about these fallen angels coming to the earth and giving technology and teaching people how to do war and teaching people how to put on makeup and teaching people how to do all this other shit. Like, they were talking about themselves. And that whole fallen angel, there weren't no damn angels, there weren't no messengers of gods. People are not connected to our whole consciousness stream, man. Like, if you had to be completely honest, man, these people treat Earth like a big ass tourist attraction. They do. They act like they not from here. I mean, do you think it's black people's fault for, like, the pollution in the world? We own so little bit of industry and, like, industrial type infrastructures. I mean, maybe driving cars that the aliens made for us is fucking up the planet, or eating the food and the packages that are in plastic and not picked from a tree that the aliens made for us. You know what I'm saying? Or the chemicals coming out the bottom of our cars that the aliens made for us. Like, we didn't make none of this shit that destroys the planet. But then we always say, we all humans, man, we're so terrible. We're all hunting the animals to extinction. No, we ain't doing shit. Aliens doing it. Fucking Martians are doing this shit. Y'all may say, man, this shit sounds so crazy, man. What are you even talking about, dude? But I'm telling you, the truth is stranger than fiction, bro. The truth is stranger than fiction. Y'all know the world ain't what they say it is, man. We out here, we always like to talk about the Matrix. Oh, this shit is fake and blah, 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 blah. Bro, it's a highly advanced species living behind the scenes. They have planted their genes here in our planet and inserted themselves into the history of our planet. And now they have offspring that are here. They placed them to be the dominant society on our planet. And these motherfuckers are still behind the scenes somewhere pulling strings. The so-called, the quote-unquote Illuminati, or whatever you want to call them, them motherfuckers are ETs, extraterrestrials, and I think they're possibly vampiric also. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of shit that people don't understand, but it's real, my nigga, it's real.